Hello everyone, this is Guppy. In this video, I'm going to experiment with all the updates I did for Random Flow, mainly the plate insets, which is going to be destructive, and the merge function in the updated merge function in random panels. So these two random panels and plate insets can do destructive detail, which is really good for the 3D printing community, requesting it from the earlier days of the add-ons because this is most of it from before are generating non-destructive results, which doesn't really create a unimesh suitable for 3D printing. But right now you can do uh, um, really good details with plate sets and random panels and create a unimesh and use it for 3D printing, especially with now if you purchase Random Starship along with Random Flow, you can uh, try and 3D print this, 3D print the results of this, and paint this because this is Unimesh. You can use Random Flow for the plate insets and random panels with the merge function to essentially create a Unimesh suitable for 3D printing. 8, and we can change the look of the auto smooth right here. We have triangulation. So this creates a lot of shapes because of the properties that are in the redo panel. Okay, so going to I haven't tried this in a ring structure or a ring city structure. So let's try it. Subdivide and circle using the loop tools. That is the loop tool circle. And Control F and S to solidify. Okay. So again, much like every other random operator, um, data insets also is dependent on the topology that you've selected. And also don't use too much because of the slowdown. It can slow down the operation. So if you're dealing with a higher resolution based mesh, you can use it intermittently on different areas at a time instead of selecting the whole mesh. But let's try, I'm going to try and use it for the entire mesh without any symmetry. Plate insets, I already have some presets here, but you can, of course, make your own. Depth, where's the depth? And thickness. I'm going to try point right here, margin, point 1. Increase the subdivision. And increase the iteration of the plates, probably 500. No, 300. And let's just number one, just one subdivision and use fill. I have too much. thickness and also depth. Let's reduce the depth for my intended detail. I'm going to reduce the depth. I use a lowered depth value with subdivision and reduce this to see what details we have. See the details that it gives us with that kind of resolution. 4, 3. And randomize the height. Oops, 0.01. This is also the height is also depth, but it's an additional height which is random for each plate inset. So minimum of 0 and maximum of 0.01. And if I try to use the height seed, you can see that the plates are going up and down in different values for each plates. Okay, number 3. I'm going to use 500. Probably needs 1,000, 1,000. There we go. So it's starting to look like something. Um, I guess the depth and thickness is also too much. 0.001 and the depth is 0.001 as well. Um, the depth is probably this one, 0.005. There we go. Yeah, that's too little, 0.01. Let's try 2,000. So now I'm no longer trying to slide the values because the operation has become too slow. So I'm manually entering the details. The values instead of using uh holding the mouse button, clicking and then dragging the values because it will slow down Blender to a halt if you do that in higher settings. Let's try the lower one and then just go up. Problem number 2 with 1 as minimum and 2 as maximum, and just increase the plates. There we go. So number 2 subdivision is actually giving us the or it's already giving us the um, proper resolution to give us this kind of detail. Okay, so that's good. The we broke What we did is break up the inner spaces and the outer spaces and look at those little bumps. That will, of course, create some interest in the renders. That's what we did instead of just using just a plain cylinder. And we can also you can also random plates is from Random Starship using the plating algorithm right here. This is basically plate insets in random flow, And what it does is actually creates what a plate insets based on the limit smooth, top or base. Um, Mark the plate inset edges as sharp, and so this is basically just uh connected islands of plate inset faces. So in random starships, these are automatically marked as sims. Marked sims. These edges are automatically marked with sims, but in plate insets it's only marked as sharp. But you can select one edge, Shift G, and then all the sharpness. Shift G, select similar, and select sharpness, and it will select all the edges that has the mark sharp status. Then Control E, mark seam, and then you can unwrap this. And let's see the result in the UV. There we go. It is properly unwrapped all the plates, all the plates, and it's the same with random starships. Let's see, a soft base, and the plates are marked properly with sim, so are the wings. And all you need to do is just select everything and unwrap. It's not gonna be perfect every time, but at least it requires just a bit of work to get it going. Okay, let's come back here and create some spikes. Break up the inner and outer spaces even more using random cells and pool seed or pool size. Let's increase the depth to know where they are and individual height, and just increase the resolution. Probably already too much. So for this kind, I think we should have just used the um, random scatter. This is too much topology for this. Random scatter, however, does not rely with subdivision, but we need to fix the size from 0.01 and increase the scale of the Z and essentially just make it thinner. If you don't have, if you're watching this and you don't have plate insets yet, you can try the details of the ring using random panels or random loop extrude. Okay, this is just soft maximum. You can go past 10. It stops when you're dragging the mouse at 10, but you can go past it by manually entering the value. And we can make it thinner, 0.001, and this is 0.005, and just increase this to something like 50, or not, 25, and increase this to 0.02, whoa, 0.002, 0.002, there we go, and points, there we go, the points, randomize the seed and avoid any of the slanting, gather object, because this follows the normal of the faces it is created from. Okay, so that is our spikes. Actually, we can also do just the random squares. One, and increase the value. Let's try 500. And then, how do we can just select the faces on the x-axis. I wonder if we can do that. And randomize the size here. Okay, let's try and increase the points, 1000 points, and randomize the location. Okay, we have our ring structure that can house probably 100,000 people. Yeah, let's save it as Ring City. Ring City plus 2, 3. There are many ring cities. Okay. And also, what else can we do? So you can see that we've further broken down the inner and outer spaces. Now its profile is really interesting. I think we can watch the profile using the matcap and just use a very dark. There we go. The profile. What else? We don't have black, totally black matcap, flat, no, object, single. There we go. That is our profile, a shape profile. So you can use this technique. Just go to flat, single, and set this to black to get the shape profile of your model. If this works even with um, this method can also be used with organic uh, models like characters, matcap, and studio. What was I using? Was I using matcap and this? No. Studio and this one. Oh, I forgot. Okay. Uh, what else? Should have saved the cylinder base. We should have saved it because I have planned to create just detail for this inner ring, but it's already been destroyed, so we're going to just create another one. Okay, selection to cursor selected, and then cylinder, create a proxy. One. Oh, so it's actually lying down. Okay, and delete the top faces. There we go, and subdivide. Select this edge loops, WS. Subdivide, select the edge loops again, and use the loop tool circle or relax. And then we select this cylinder again, and flip the normal, so the random results will show up on this side, not on this side here. Okay, let's try random scatter and increase the height of the Z. Ooh, 250. And increasing the height of the z-axis also increases it from the middle. So we're going to use offset. There we go, and decrease the size. This can be our skyscrapers. So 500 seed. Let's see. So these are basically squares. We can uh, try and some are because of the scale, some are actually reversing their normals. That's okay, we can fix it later. Oops, there we go. And like for example, this one, I know this one. Selecting everything, every mesh, go to edit mode, select every face and Alt N, calculate, and that fixes it. Okay, so we have our buildings or our skyscrapers, and all we need is texture. So random vertex color and black and white. So black and white, what I did is just knock the maximum saturation to 0 and then increase the minimum value, something like 6.6, I mean, and then just use the island limit. So it has different colors for face islands, but in the case of the plate and sets, it doesn't work because this is Unimesh. So there is a new limit option in random vertex color, and that is sharp. So what it does is create different colors for each face islands that has boundary edges that are marked sharp. There we go. And you can set island offset. So for every 5 islands, it will change to a new color. Okay, I'm going to append the material that I've been using from that I've used from other blend files. Material, grunge metal. Let's see if it works here. And Control Shift X. This is Creative Flow. Materials. Assign material for each object selected. And film. We're going to film and transparent, so the HDRI background won't show up. I'm going to use this one. And let's see what we got. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna try to fix the scaling. As- to fix the scaling of the textures. I'm not gonna speak because I won't be able to speak while I am rendering the viewport because it's gonna break up the recording. So these four nodes here, you can buy it from the store in the grunt shaders. They're called the grunt shader set. We don't need the scratches here because the model is designed to be big. I'm going to fix the lights. So there's a nice round of lights right here. Um, Actually, in the dark, it's too much. Now you have your ring city that you can render from the background. This will be like in the background. I think you can render it inside the atmosphere or outside in space. So that's how it's easy it is to create this kind of model using random flow. You can also repurpose this as a for some kind of a section in the in an O'Neill cylinder. Okay, that's how it is. You can of course use the same model, select the faces, and then use plate insets on some of the on the same plate inset results. Okay. Uh, before we end this video, I'm going to show you what's new with the cables. Okay, one, two, three, four, two, three, four. You can organize the how the cables uh essentially connect in a straight line using the naming convention of the mesh. But I'm gonna teach it to you when I release the updates in the changelog videos. So essentially selecting this random cables using catenary and this one getting rid of the cables that are growing on the same islands. Holy cow, wait, where is that? Okay, they're limited. Okay, that's limited. Okay, so you can see that the islands are basically so this can connect to this, or here, this and this. So basically, they can connect to each other, and you get this chaotic mess, and that's good for a lot of concept art. Create this sense of con- uh, chaos with the cables. But you can try and use full, and they will only connect on in sequence. But the possibility of the wires being that way are being knocked off if they are not connected this way. So having a cable amount of 63 in limited, we have a lot more, but in full, you have fewer because only these cables pass the test of having this connection. So you all you need to do is just increase this. The soft max is 100, and the mouse drag stops on that, but you can manually enter the values. So you get something like this. So this is you can arrange these using manual the naming convention. So this is Q a plane and then plane 01, plane 02, plane 03, plane 04. So that's how they are. That's how the wires are connected to through sequence. And we also have the what if it's a single object but different phase islands? There's also a method to that. But if everything else doesn't work, you can just, of course, extract this and then selection and then separate this by those parts and then name this as one, this two, three, four. So name it in the order you want the cables to connect. But for this one, as a single mesh, we can try the random cables. So you can see with full, you don't see the connection being in sequence. But we can try the sort method. You can try the island seed. So different phase islands connect with each other. Or you can try the sort method. So basically this sorts the phase islands depending on the axes. So the islands are actually more to the y-axis, going to the y-axis. So let's do that. Y-axis, and then you can see that the margin. Let's reduce the ranges. Where are you, ranges? Okay. Is it Y or is it X? Oh wait, there we go. Islands into one, so it doesn't randomize. Margin. What's the margin? Margin. Ranges seed select. The margin has been lost. Maybe there is no margin. Ranges, what's ranges? Okay. Oh, there we go. Margin. And there you have it. It is in sequence. First island here, second island, third, and fourth. So using the sort method of y-axis. So this is the y-axis direction, and it sort them out the y-axis. So that's why they are now connected is in sequence rather than just being chaotic. So limited is chaotic, and oh well, maybe it inherited the. So none is also chaotic, but with full you have interconnected connected cables that are in sequence, not chaotic. So that's good. Okay, so okay, there we go. One, two, three, and four. And it's the same thing with for example, the faces are in the z-axis mostly. So one, two, three, four. We're going to use curve for this because the catenary always points towards the z-axis as an imaginary ground. And we're going to use the y-axis to increase the y-axis. There we go. So right now it's chaotic. Let's set it to full and sort it towards the z-axis. Down. There we go. So yeah, that is in the upcoming update, along with the plate and sets and a whole lot more. Also, the merge function in um, random panels now works when using margins. So random panels, increase the cut. So let's merge. Now there are these the same unimesh or the same mesh or unimesh. And now the increasing the margins, you can see that the merge final is still there and it works. And also the edges are marked, much like in plate insets. So with this and the plate insets, the 3D printing community using our flow can now have their own fun. Yeah. Okay, so I've just finished with the first tutorial for the Random Starship and will now work on the main tutorial. So I have a tutorial to how to install the presets and then the main tutorial for the different radio panels here, and there is a lot. It the blend the monitor can't even of course occupy accommodate all of it, but you only have to actually work like 8 or 10 parameters or properties to make this the add-on work, and most of it are just exposed just to let you have a more intimate or sensitive control over the shape of the starship. So, for example, here I mostly don't touch this one except for the smoothing of the front and back of the ship, and then the rest I just leave alone unless I need to scale them. So, like that, for example. So there's 1 and 2 properties that I this one here. So setting that to 1 or 2. So plating I mostly touch the size on the adjacent faces mode, and in wings just the wing count. Mostly settings I mostly touch the just the on smooth or smart body. Once this is set, this is usually closed. And I mostly play with the auto smooth because of the plating limit smooth that option. This is connected to the auto smooth properties. So, and also the bump settings, the count. This is this is one of the properties that I modify, and then the scaling, and then I'll just play with the main main random seed, which is the hull seed. And if I like the shape, for example, I like the shape, but I don't like the plating detail. Then I'll just open up the plating properties and then play with the settings here and the plating seed. So you don't have to actually use everything. They're just there. Some of them are just there for more sensitive control over the shape of the resulting mesh. But you can once you get used to this, um, you'll know what I mean. So that this is I think soft base, this is soft top, which is now the hard the marked sharp edges are now the top areas of the plates, top border areas of the plates. You have the simple. If you don't want any detail to your ship, just the base mesh. You can also do that here. I should actually just reduce this 0 because this is just triangulate. The triangulation is just meant for the inset detail. And we have the angular. The good thing about this is this is already UV'd. Once you have the once finished, you can just unwrap it. And this is the result of simple base mesh without triangulation. Going to save it simple. And good thing about this is mostly just tris and quads. Without with just a simple base mesh, there is no UV mapping, but it's quite simple that you can just UV map this manually. The UV map feature only comes when you're using the plating insets detail. So like this one here, that the howling to 2. For example, this one, unwrap, and there we go. So with just a bit of work, you can have the proper UV for this. So there's less work because of the way this is made. There's less work for UV mapping afterwards using the add-on. So I'll have a tutorial just for the basic setup using the add-on, and then I'll have a more casual tutorial for the how to use the add-on and come up with different shapes every time. So things like using both for the bump mode and using none as the limit. Adjacent has kind of like a limited bump, like the face that is bumped, used for bump will never be used for bumping again, and then its neighboring faces will never be used for bumping again. So there's a space of one face, one element, and then the other element beyond that is the one that can be used for bumping, and this is the adjacent. For none, every element, the edge or face can be used for bumping, but only once. So this is more chaotic as you increase the number, get more chaotic, really strange shapes. So this is more like 15 or something, and then just play around with the shapes. Uh, so this look at this. This can have different look depending on the auto smooth and also the triangulation. The triangulation is what creates the angular shapes in the model. So if you, for example, if you use 15 degrees, it will look differently. So 5 degrees of triangulation creates that those angular shapes in the surface of the model. And we can also have different looks depending on the auto mode. So this is 180. This is using 180. So I normally just go for 120. So plating, you can use either tap or none. So none, there's no mark sharp edges, so there's no UV actually for this. Actually, maybe because we're using plate insets. No, it's only available for top and base. And if, for example, if I could reduce this to 30 degrees, then you have a sharper model. You can achieve the soft look either by smoothing the mesh using here 0.5, then 1 or how smooth. You can do that. Okay, so that is purely smoothing the mesh or the geometry. Or you can combine it with auto smooth like that, or have an angular cage or base. Let's see, 30 with no smoothing, 0 and 0, and then just bring up the auto smooth to some 120, so like that, or 180. 180 is the maximum you can go. So you have a softer look like that, or you can combine it with smoothing to even to really smooth out the angles. So there's a lot of look that you can achieve, not just with smoothing and auto smooth, and not just with not just uh, randomizing the actual geometry. And this auto smooth look is also reflected in renders. So like that, we can use tap, which will show up like this in renders. So that's why it's included in the add-on. And the plate details is actually really cool. You can increase the subdivision of the ship. It's cool. It really looks like plating, or even looks like snake scales. You can up the triangulation, and this is the plating. This is minimum of 2. So this means that the plates have a minimum size of 2 and maximum size of 4 for now. We can increase this and increase the size of the plates. So, for example, if we're using 2, this has fewer faces. So let's to have more plates. You can just reduce the minimum maximum values of the plates. Fill 300. So you can see that this is too busy. If you want it, you can, of course, get it like that. But if you want to have a more wider, uh, relaxed areas in the model, you can just increase the size of the plates. There we go. It's not too busy right now, and you can just um, come up with the extra details using textures or plate insets and other random operators from random flow. Yeah. So this is just a before I go on to the next video tutorial. Uh, I just took a break and created this video, and I hope you are excited with the update as I am, because yeah, the ships look nice. You can also use this for robot parts, sword handles, and other stuff you can think of. Not just spaceships. And some of the shapes are really, really legit. Synchronous is 25. So for a more controlled bump, you can use adjacent, or for more chaotic bump result, you can use the no limit or none. So 6 hull sections. This refers to how many hull sections you can get with the add-on. With the ship. It creates longer ships, but more and more faces. So the more faces you have, the relative to the subdivision you're using, it can slow down the operation. So you can create long ships, mother ships, or carrier ships, and you can also create stubby ships with just it's one house section. And look at that. So stubby ships for like 4 house section, or 4, 5, 6. Let's use 4. Really stubby ships like this, and experiment with these with the look. Reduce the auto smooth, something like 45 or 30. There we go, for a more angular look, or for a more softer look. Just increase the auto smooth and play around with the limit smooth using tab or base. So I mostly like the base because of this look. But you know, sometimes the top also creates some really good results. But let's come up with these stubby ship that looks good. So we still we still have the ring city back there. Yeah, this looks really weird. You know, this is 5. Oh, that looks good. All it needs is a proper texture and you're good to go. Cool. And with adjacent is more controlled. Really good. This is cool. The wings, you can disable them using zero count or play around with the after uh getting the right hull settings and the plating settings. You can play around with the seed right there, right here, the location of the wings. And let's try 12 hull sections for a really long ship. Let's try no bump limit. Cool. Good. Okay, this one looks good too. Let's try the angular look. 0 and 0. And then settings and reduce the auto smooth angle to 30 degrees. So this is how it looks like on the angular side. And if we incorporate smoothing, mesh smoothing, along with increased angle, get this. It's really cool. Yep. And then um, create a base color with random flow using random vertex color, black and white. So sharp because this doesn't have any separate face islands like random panels or random loop extrude. So this is Unimesh, so we're going to use this is sharp. Point 6 to generate the different colors for each island. There we go. And also, because of the amount of face that we have, we can properly use we can dirty the vertex color. Zero blur strength, dirt only. And now you have your black and white gradation base color for your ship. Then, of course, introduce a saturation. This is 0.5. You want colors? You can do that. Right. And offset of 25. And then just either play around with and then play around with the random seed right here. Yep. So that is it for this video. And if you have any questions, use the comment sections below or the links in the description. Thank you for watching and have a nice day.